Okay, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot right here. Hopefully, your favorite official content creator for the First Descendant. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through my build for the Enduring Legacy. Alright, I know many of you guys have been waiting, and I have thoroughly tested it. There is still one module missing that I would like to add later, but I don't want to delay any further for you guys. Okay, so let me get right into it and I'll show you everything that goes on. Okay, so let's get started. Now, as always, before we do anything else, please make sure that if you haven't already registered me as your content creator, link is in the video description. Hit that, register me, it's free. I'd be very grateful to you. Okay, all right, thank you very much if you decide to do that. Oh, and for those that registered more than a month ago, please make sure to extend your support as well. All right, because the support disappears after about roughly 2 months. So yeah, please do extend it so that you can remain in the list. Okay, let's get into it. Enduring Legacy, here we go. All right, this is what the base build of the Enduring Legacy looks like. We've also got practically the same thing for Gley, just shifted around slightly. All right, I will walk you through all of it. All right, I'll walk you through both builds. We'll be doing demonstrations for both builds. And of course, I will tell you all the roles, everything that you need in order to make this gun work. All right. Before we get into the modules though, let me first start with the base stats. All right, here we go. The base firearm attack of this weapon is 13,155. All right, I've got an option that increases it. I'll go through the options a little later. Firearm critical hit rate is baseline 20%. Base magazine size 115 rounds per magazine. Okay, reload time is 2.7 seconds. Pretty long, but no need to worry about that. Fire rate is 571. It's pretty mid-range. Kind of a little bit on the slower side, but we'll pump this up later, so no problem. The base firearm critical hit damage, though, is 2.3 times multiplier, which is insane. All right. I boosted this up with an option of 40.8, which is amazing. So, yeah, I love this weapon. It has a crush attribute, so pretty good for anything that's weak against crush. It has a base stat of 4.76% chance to trigger attributes, and the unique ability of this gives it an extra 6%, giving you a 10.76% chance of triggering an attribute status effect. So this will filter into the unique ability, and later on I'll talk about that. Weak point damage multiplier is only 1 times, so if you do not add any weak point damage to this gun, you can effectively fire anywhere on the body and it would be the same as firing at a weak point. Okay? So weak point damage doesn't matter. The accuracy of the gun is 61.11 hip fire. Aim shot is 66.6. Nothing too fantastic here. This is pretty mid-range, but I mean, it's a machine gun, so I'm not really expecting it to be a sniper, right? The effective range on this gun, though, is beautiful at 40 meters for maximum damage. 70 meters would be the lowest damage range, but the attack drop-off modifier is a whopping 55%. So you'd only lose, even at 70 meters, about 45% of your overall damage, which I think is really fantastic. And staying within 40 meters is really easy, so I love the effective range on this thing. It's beautiful. Movement speed is 450 as expected of a machine gun. You're always going to move slower. Sprint speed 750, so obviously you're going to move slower. Again, it's a heavy gun. Movement speed while firing is 270 and movement speed while aiming is 180. All right, so you are very slow when aiming, but again, you don't have to worry about that. I've rolled bonus firearm attack versus Colossus, as I always do with guns like this. But anyway, that's basically what we've got. And this is the base stat of this weapon. As you can see, it is mostly a crit based weapon. It's not really a weak point based weapon. Yeah. Now, you know the base stats of the weapon. Let's talk about the unique ability. For the unique ability, this gun has something called craftsmanship. When you hit an enemy, all right, it will increase the status effect trigger rate corresponding to the element. And this means any element. Like it could be fire, chill, electric, toxic, doesn't matter. But it will inflict the unique ability quenching on the target. Furthermore, when you hit a burning enemy, it will increase the firearm attack and apply the increased attack buff to the attack itself. All right? What does that mean? Basically, if an enemy is burning, you gain 11% firearm attack, which is shown there down the bottom. Quenching lasts for half a second. All right? Max stacks of 50. The fire resistance is minus 5% baseline, and then you get an additional minus 0.8% per stack. So if you were to calculate that, 0.8 multiplied by 50, you get minus 40% resistance, and with the 5% here, that should be 45% total fire resistance reduced on the enemy. It's very easy to reach 50 stacks with this gun. All right. The other thing is the attribute status trigger effect is 6%, so please take note of this. Quenching applies on hit. You don't have to hit a weak spot. You don't have to hit a special location. You just hit anywhere and the enemy starts to be quenched. So because of this reducing fire resistance, we have used, and of course benefiting from the burning effect, I choose to use only the fire element on this gun. You can build it to accommodate other elements if you want to, but I have found that it's completely fine just using the fire element. All right, so you don't need to worry too much about this. Now, you understand the base stats, you understand the unique ability. Let's talk about the roles that I put on this weapon before we get into the mods. For this weapon, I went with firearm attack, critical hit rate, critical hit damage, and bonus firearm attack versus Colossus. By raising the bonus firearm attack, it is effectively an increase to your base attack versus Colossi, which is fantastic. The critical hit damage, critical hit rate, this is a crit weapon, and firearm attack is always good. So this is my Enduring Legacy. It does quite a bit of damage. All right, now let's get into the builds. Okay, this is the general build for any character in the game. Okay, rifling reinforcement, action and reaction, these two increase your firearm attack. All right, this gives you the 93% firearm attack damage, which you want. Okay, you don't have to worry about recoil. As you know, in this game, it really doesn't matter. Okay, better insight, better concentration. This will improve your critical hit rate from the base 20%. It gives you another 40% roughly off that. So 40% of 20 is 8. So you get an additional 8% critical. Well, roughly 27.8 instead. All right, so this is how much extra critical you're getting. And then better concentration increases your critical hit damage by 74.8%, which brings up your multiplier by quite an amount. All right, the final multiplier is 6.78, so that's pretty fantastic. That's also because of concentration priority. That adds another 120% firearm critical hit damage in exchange for 30% extra reload time. The reload on this is already slow, and you guys should know how to animation cancel. Don't worry, I'll show you guys all that. Okay, so concentration priority plus better concentration, your total multiplier is that every time you crit, you hit 6.78 times damage, which is a whopper. Okay, now, for your ultimate mod, you're going to want Mental Focus. Mental Focus adds 1% firearm attack every time you hit the target, up to 150 stacks. That's up to 150% firearm attack. This is one of the few guns where if you use expand weapon charge, which adds 49% rounds to your magazine, you go from 115 to 171. This actually can break the cap on Mental Focus, which is fantastic. So you're going to get the full 150% firearm attack for your last 21 shots, which is, again, absolutely fantastic. You can get even more on Gley, which is, again, fantastic. Love this. All right, but for most characters, this is what I'll build. All right, this is the non-Gley build. Fire enhancement is a must so that you can trigger the unique effect, which only works on a burning target, and you're reducing the fire resistance of your target anyway. All right, we'll demonstrate on Pyromaniac a little later. Now, fire rate up is a must as well, because increasing the fire rate of this means that you can go through your full magazine faster, therefore dealing more damage per second to the target. Last but not least, fire priority. Okay, this one is iffy. If you were to take this out, all right, you could immediately introduce Insight Focus. I have thought a lot about edging shot, but I very much prefer Insight Focus, which adds more multiplier to my firearm critical hit damage, and it buffs my critical hit rate from 27.8 to 30.7. Not much of an increase, but if you don't like fire priority, this can help your character out. It's really up to you. Fire priority, the biggest problem with it is the increase in the reload time. It's another 30%, which means that your reload time ends up somewhere like 4 seconds. All right. Again, you can animation cancel, so it's really up to you. But because it only increases your fire attack by 50%, and you're getting a fire attack equal to 30% of your firearm attack, basically this translates to a 15% increase in your fire enhancement damage. Here's the big problem. A 15% increase is kind of superseded by something like focus fire. Okay, so this is the mod that I wanted to actually change. Like I plan on changing this slot to another M slot. If I change this to another M slot, what'll happen is that I'll put in focus fire, which gives me more critical hit damage and a weak point multiplier of 20%. So this changes the weak spot damage from 1 times to 1.2. All right, you will be able to see this on the Gley build later, but that 1.2 multiplier applies to your critical hits as well. So your critical hits, like you're multiplying this by 1.2, which is pretty good, and I kind of really like that. In fact, if I were to go with the Gley version, I would probably change fire priority to weak point sight, which is again way better for hurting Colossi since you're always going to be targeting their weak spots, right? So it makes a lot more sense for me to be able to hit their weak spots and get up to a 1.5 times multiplier, especially on Gley. However, when I first constructed this, I was a strong believer in fire priority, so I've built it with this in mind. However, when I actually demonstrate the capabilities of this build, I will do it with inside focus, and of course later on you can change this to focus fire. All right, so please keep this in mind. I want to change this slot to a Malachite slot, and then that's the M slot, Malachite. All right, and then I want to put in focus fire because focus fire actually gives you the best bang for your buck in this particular build. All right, okay, this is the normal version for most characters. For Gley, you can do some funky stuff. Okay, with Gley, you can use sharp precision shot. Now, I've tested both this one and mental focus. I still kind of prefer mental focus. I'm going to be real with you about that. But sharp precision shot is really not bad on Gley, owing to the fact that she's got 9.6 seconds of just being able to bust, which means that you get this insane extra fire rate for 4.6 seconds. All right. The total fire rate that you're getting is 45% boosted with 60% overall firearm attack increase. And of course, reduced recoil, which is fine. It just helps you stay on target a bit more. So this is pretty darn good. I like sharp precision shot, and it allowed me to put focus fire here. And like I said, fire priority, I will change over right now for inside focus. But in reality, I'll be changing this for weak point sight on the Gley build, and on the normal build, it'll be changed over for focus fire, both a Malachite slot anyway. All right. So if you like fire priority, you can use it, but take note that it is not necessary in this particular build because fire priority, like I've mentioned in several other tests, it seems to be more of a hindrance than a help. But again, the choice is yours. It would be an Almondine slot anyway, with another Malachite placed in here so that you could vary the mods to your taste. Okay? All right. That is it for the base build and the Gley build. Now I'm going to demonstrate both of these. Now this is going to be a bit of a longer video because I am going to demonstrate both of these for you. Okay? But before that, I'm also going to show you one little thing in the lab. There are a lot of people right now that are showcasing some pretty weird stuff, and they say that these builds deal an insane amount of damage. All right, I just want to set the record straight on this because, again, as I've mentioned in several other videos, there is a trap.
Would you like to use the laboratory?
There is a DPS trap that many people fall for, and I want to express to you guys that this should not be the case, okay? What is this DPS trap? There are several mods in the game that do not reflect their value in the DPS count. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate and show this to you guys really quickly because I think that it is important, and I think several people, you know, don't know about this or they get fooled. It's sad. So I want to help you guys out. I want to show you guys this. All right. First and foremost, if you look at this, I've got a blank mod section here. If I were to put in expand weapon charge, take note that the DPS would increase by 10,000, right? Okay, let me take a normal shot at this guy. 11,842. Remember that number. Let's put in expand weapon charge right now. 11,842. My damage has not increased. My damage has not increased. Why did the DPS increase when my actual damage didn't increase? Because basically, the game thinks that since you spend less time reloading, you're doing more damage overall, right? That's not how damage works. What you need to do is increase the damage by a significant amount, right? So let's put in weak point sight. Lo and behold that there's no change in DPS. But if I were to actually hit the head, it goes from 11,000 up to 14,000, right? This is the entire problem. Fun fact, if I were to put in right now, fire enhancement, okay? No DPS increase, and yet when I fire, I'm doing 11,842, and then I'm getting extra damage from the burn stacks and from the fire enhancement itself. See that? Is now hitting for 2,404. Yeah. So this is the entire problem with the DPS system. Please do not be fooled, guys. All right. There are many things in this game, and the reason why we built them in a particular way is not that we're not trying to chase the highest DPS number. There are several builds out there that will show you how to get the highest DPS number, and they include like 2 magazine mods in there. What are you gonna do with that? Your actual damage is not going to increase, so please do not be fooled by people padding their DPS. Rather, ask yourself this: is my damage in the lab actually increasing? Because if your damage is not increasing in the lab, it's worthless. Okay? Please remember that. The only reason to use expand magazine charge, even in the normal build, is not to inflate this DPS figure, but rather, if you expand weapon charge, what will happen is that you can get the full benefit of mental focus, therefore actually increasing your actual damage dealt. So please be aware of that, okay? All right, now, let's start with the Gley demonstration first. So we're gonna use Gley's build, and of course, since we're using the fire enhancement, this is a fire-based weapon, we're going to go off against the Pyromaniac, because he's the only fire colossi that there is there. So let us demonstrate. Here we go. Nice little quick solo fight, just to showcase Gley's build in action. Then we will showcase the other build, but with Haley. So we'll use the normal build with Haley, and I'll just show you how it functions. Ultimately, what character you use it with doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean that you can only use it with Haley and Gley. You can use this with any character, but please remember that Gley's build is specific to Gley only, whereas Haley's build, or rather the general build, can be used anywhere. Okay, let me step out of the murder water for a second. Okie day, here we go. Demonstration 1. Now, if you're wondering what Gley build I'm using, it is literally the exact same Gley build you guys would have seen. Oh, I forgot to activate lethality. And here's the problem: if you don't activate lethality, you will burn through all your ammo, and yeah, that's not very fantastic. So had I not done that, I would have gotten a much bigger hit on the Pyromaniac, which would have been fantastic, but that's how it goes. Unfortunately, you have to hold down the trigger with sharp precision shot, as you guys already know, so it can be problematic. Now, while the Pyromaniac is in phase... Oh man, my mispronunciation today is off the charts. Off the charts. Okay, here we go. Did you see that? Whenever I am close to slightly past halfway, if I roll, I have a full reload. So take note of this. This animation cancel works and is very useful on this gun. Alright, especially if you use the fire priority version, it is still very useful on this gun. So I'm just making sure we have full ammo. Okay. You can either choose to break the Pyromaniac's thingamabob, or you can deal with the minions. Now, I like to deal with the minions with Gley because the problem is sharp precision shot requires you to hold down the trigger. Now, if your lethality has already been triggered, that's okay. Trigger it again, and you can just hold down the trigger, gun down whoever you want. I like to make sure that I will never be interrupted when doing this, and then off I go. Now he's gonna go into phase again, unfortunately. That is how it goes with the pyro. Take note that he is phasing really quickly despite the fact that this is not Greg's. So a lot of people used to think that Greg's ability causes a lot of problems. No, it's just that if you have a good build with Greg's, you can dish out a lot of damage, which causes him to phase faster. But in actuality, his entire phasing thing is due solely to whether or not you're dealing enough damage to him. If you are, then good. If you're not, then you won't be able to get good value out of stuff. All right, just like that. There we go, pyro dead. So nice and simple run. Okay. Sharp precision shot is okay, but again, I plan on swapping over another Malachite slot so that I can do an improved version on Gley using weak point sight and mental focus and all that. All right, because I like mental focus better than sharp precision shot on Gley at least. Okay, let's get out of here. Then I'll swap over to Haley and I'll demonstrate the general build. So this video is long, but hopefully it'll show you guys exactly how to use this gun and why it's so fantastic. Like, the fact that against a fire creature you're still dishing out massive damage is why I love the whole... I just love what this can do. Alright? The only downside is that you won't get the bonus 11% firearm attack because you cannot burn the Pyromaniac. He is already on fire, so... Okay, we're gonna apply this preset. Now give me one quick second. This will only take a moment. Okay. Now for Haley, we're gonna swap over to a slightly different reactor. Only because I just want the skill cost reduction. I don't care about the rest. Now here, as you will have seen on stream, I use the Annihilation set when using a gun Haley. Okay. Sorry, this one should be the max shield version. There we go. Full Annihilation set, and of course the rest of this is fine. So we're going to use the Enduring Legacy. We're going to use the general build, as you guys know. Okay, so the general build is mental focus with expand weapon charge because you are not Gley, you do not have unlimited ammo. So this is what you will use. Okay, and again, I'm demonstrating with insight focus as opposed to fire priority.
I am analyzing the void paradox.
Once again, Hard Pyromaniac. Watch this gun in action. It is quite beautiful. Okay, so I've got my Enduring Legacy out. Okay, he's already phased. Okay, he's down. Now, you will notice that I'm also using Haley's ability to boost the overall damage, but look at how quickly he's phasing. Look at how quickly he's phasing. That's how it is. Alright, that's how it is. And he's phasing again. In 1 minute, this is what he does. Because he basically takes so much damage from this that he just goes into phase over and over and over again. But you can still beat him down real quick. There you go. Alright. That's how much damage you end up doing. It is insane. It is insane. Alright. And of course, Haley is currently the gun master because of her abilities. if you just look at the battle results screen, it's about 1 minute kill, 23 million damage. So 23 million. If you want to work out actual DPS, you can have 23 million divided by 23 million divided by, say, 72 seconds. So your damage per second is, in actuality, the actual damage per second that you're dealing is 319,000. And that includes some seconds where you don't actually DPS, which is why it will differ from the gun. But your overall DPS, pretty darn high. Okay. Now, you can actually work out the actual DPS that you did for other guns as well and see what numbers you can reach. But basically, this is one of the most insane ways to play this. Greg's actually reaches higher because of the bombardment and the speed, but you need something else to break his tube. I love Enduring Legacy because it just breaks his tube so easily. Okay, there you go. That is the demonstration of both forms of this build. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you guys will enjoy the Enduring Legacy. This is one of the most fun guns in the game. Quick summary again, all right, before we go anywhere. This is the general build. The general build uses mental focus with expand weapon charge so that you can get the full value of mental focus. All right, inside focus, you can also put fire priority. It's really your choice at the end of the day what you want to do here. Okay, same thing here, fire priority and all that. It's up to you. Or just like I said, I plan on swapping this on Gley build to weak point sight. So weak point sight here. And for the others, I plan on swapping this to focus fire, which would be absolutely excellent and it would help me out tremendously in place of fire priority. But again, the choice is ultimately yours and you can do whatever you choose with that. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to comment, especially if you enjoy my content, and register me as your content creator. Okay, link is in the first line of the description. Don't forget to extend support if you registered more than 1 month ago. And before we go, as always, we thank our top supporters. So allow me to begin with all of our top tier channel members: Vegas Moxie, Arcane Silver, CG Mayhem, Death Dawning 982, Haza, Jose, Princess Star, Track Hoodie at Plus Ultra. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to BVS Fang, George Tishon, and Nisk at the only fan level. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, and of course for our excuse me, top. Why did that change again? Sorry. And of course for our top stream supporters, September's top supporter list includes CG Mayhem as our top tipper, Rafi Jana in our top tipper list. Top super chatter is Sir Tommy Gunn. Top super chatter list includes Ted Wu, Craig Ricketts, Grand Roku, I Done It, Fisher. Thank you guys so much. Top channel membership gifter this month is George Tishon with 50 gifted memberships. Top membership gifter list includes CG Mayhem, I Done It, D Russ, Princess Star, and Yo Slime Forever. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy the Enduring Legacy. Bye.